comments, and you're someone over that speech, eh? Okay?
Mr. Mayor and the rest of the council,
Yes,
I do agree with Chief Dorsey. I am a city volunteer, something that I don't get paid to do. I am a community service, something that I don't get paid to do. But all of these people just running running the speed limit is just ridiculous. I have called this man probably about 10 times last week on College Street. Why are they running the speed limit? And perhaps I got an answer earlier today that I need to be here in the city. But what I'm asking for, please support our system. Let us be a more stronger community service than we are today. Let us be strong leaders as we're supposed to be leaders. I respect all of y'all for what you're doing in this city. But in the city of McDonough, the one I stay in, I do honor y'all for what y'all do. But all of this just running the speed limit and people just getting by, they need to be put a stop to it. That is my answer, that's my question. I have to leave to go take care of my elders. Thank y'all.
that's good of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for the
All right,
comment.
thank y'all.
Yes, okay. Ms. Gia, we welcome you to the podium. And tonight it's nice to see you. And we're going to give you another 5 minutes. And any comments?
Mayor and Council, I appreciate the few moments, and I will be relatively brief, but I agree with the gentleman that just left. I so appreciate the position that you guys have to take care of the city as a citizen. However, from a citizen's point of view, I am very concerned that when things do get difficult, there's ways to address people, there's times to address people, and I love what was said earlier, that perception is everything. And what the perception is part of the reason you see such a strong influence from the business leaders tonight is we are concerned about the perception of the way the incident was handled last week on to approve or not to approve. Now, I haven't looked to see who all signed the list the last time. I'm going to, because I think now that's turned into an interesting question to approve the roads. But you know, at the end of the day, there's a process. And from a business owner's perspective, when I work with the police force, I get a process. I get a list of what to do, I get a return on the call, and I appreciate that. Some of what I heard tonight with this proposal that's coming in, and they aren't going to report back problems, and why council would be involved in all that, I guess I need to read some of those proposals, but I am concerned about the level of interaction with some of the community leaders and the business leaders, because you guys know there's some hard times that are going on now. My request, just really asking you guys to think about it. When there are difficult situations to talk about, it sounds like when we work together as a group and look at the facts, and quite honestly, it's irrelative to me, whether it's dots or lines or big pictures or little pictures or relatively balanced within the percentages, because I roll with the numbers. But when it's a difficult position, is it asking too much sometimes to go, you know what, today's not the day that I need the answer? Because it is true, perception is everything. And when we get in the news as much as we have been lately, and not all of it positive, it just really bothers me as a citizen when I know there's so many great things that are going on in this town that sometimes I would just ask that you wait to get that answer later instead of where it can put us on, you know, what is a guys riding up and down the road and all the things they were doing to help us. And I just think it's critical. It's important that we remember that there is a morale issue and there is a service issue, even when there's difficult questions. And I've watched all you guys handle difficult questions and difficult tasks, and I salute you for that. But I would just ask that we do the same as we're working with all of our city employees, not just the police, not just the media, not just our individual people, but at the end of the day, sometimes does it really matter whether we get dots, lines, or an answer that second, because we're dealing with people. So, as respectful as I know how, all I'm asking is that could we, especially when you look at some of the press coverage that we're getting, try to find a way that what we hand the press is on a silver platter, all the great things that you guys are doing, because there's some great things going on in McDonough. But sometimes when we get caught up in the heat of the moment, we end up on the front page when we really ought to not end up on any page at all, and let's talk about some of the good things that are going on. And I appreciate you guys passing that tonight. You know, whether we need 90 streets done or, 200 streets, that's not up to me. But I do appreciate the fact that it was explained very clearly there's a process. They get a list, they go to DOT, they bring people in. So it isn't anything that is a one person, got something against anybody. There is a process. And I think when we're dealing with the media, if we talk about the process and we talk about how important our people are, I as a citizen won't feel quite so embarrassed. So for what that's worth, from a business owner and somebody that's excited about the things that are going on in the community, we're just here as a group to say we really appreciate the work you guys do, but there's an incredible amount of support for the police chief and all the things that they do.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you for the presentation.
Mayor Copeland, I'd like to ask Gia a question.
Sure. I'll answer you.
I know you will.
Okay.
We were asked to legislatively sign a document that we didn't have information on in terms of what the process was. So what I'm hearing from you is,
Hold on, I want to make a couple notes because I don't want to interrupt you.
okay, what I'm hearing from you is that there, and I'm paraphrasing, there was some inappropriateness in asking what the process was for determining where those streets were.
What you heard me say, and let me answer you specifically.
Yeah, I want to be clear about what you said.
I love clarity. The issue is never to withhold information from anyone. And as a council person, I would think that anyone in that position would want clarity. My point is, sometime, to quote you earlier, perception is everything. And to get what you need, you're entitled to that. I'm all for that. What I'm not necessarily for is the timing. And the other point that you made is you were asked to sign a document you didn't have the process for. And I haven't looked to see who signed that in 2000 and something, in 1999, but I'm going to in a few minutes. But I guess my point would be, if you don't have the process for documents you're going to sign, what meeting did you call ahead of time when you knew it was on the agenda that somebody said, forget it, council, I'm not coming?
There wasn't a meeting to call. You know, we have guidelines and processes on calling meeting. I think it was fair for the public to hear information about how we determine where we're running radar.
And you are as entitled to your opinion as I am.
Yes, ma'am. And I do represent citizens that do have these questions. I think I made that clear tonight.
Okay, and no one is arguing who you represent. My only point is you brought up the fact that you didn't have the process for documents you were going to sign. You guys have been in this chamber long enough to know how to get those either ahead of time or table something so we don't put city leaders in a position where those of us that hold on, I listen to you, that do elect you guys can go, wow, that was embarrassing. So all I'm asking is
it shouldn't have been embarrassing. In the name of transparency, when you ask the staff person what the process is, it's just an answer.
But I think the point I'm making is I'm all for transparency, but I'm also for respective timing. That's it. Okay, and sometimes it's better to wait than to keep pushing it, pushing it, pushing it. And if somebody's answered you 3 times, hold on, now I answered you, I listen, and I'm gonna listen. But if somebody's answered 3 times and we wind up in the media, it might be better to say, can we table this and then have a closed meeting or get the information you need. Because I think as citizens, we like being very responsive and receptive to you guys. And if you call a meeting, people show up. But if you're asked to sign a document and you don't know what it is, heck yeah, I'd want to know what it is, but not necessarily in the format you're getting your information.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you being here. Ms. Molly Smith, Molly, it's nice to see you, young lady, and we certainly welcome you. Got to see your lovely daughter about a week or so ago, and give you an opportunity, any comments you might like to share at this time.
I'd just like to, and Gia kind of summed it all up for all of us, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood that I'm just a private citizen, I'm not a business owner, and I appreciate everything that the police chief and the city of McDonough does for me and my family. But again, to reiterate something that Gia said, that if we don't, from a citizen's perspective, that if we have something that we need to air, don't air our dirty laundry in the newspaper, because we've been in the newspaper enough. And to me, this is something that should have been handled behind closed doors. If we needed some clarity from the police chief on how this should have been handled, or how the roads were determined, that's something that we could have done behind the doors before it hit the media. I just thought it was an embarrassment to our city. I'd rather promote the goodness of our town rather than the negativity of our town. And I appreciate everything that you guys do.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Thanks so much. Chief, do we have anything, Chief, any other?
I want to say something.
Yeah.
Mr. Daniel.
Yeah, no. Yes, I just didn't have, nice to see you. It's always good to see you.
Those of you who don't know me, I'm Neil Daniel. I'm the head of the Business Association here in McDonough. I'm also the owner of G's. And for a while now, I've spoken this to some of you, and some of you heard me say this, but we have a communication problem in this city. Listening tonight to what's going on, I was never last meeting. I don't know what happened last meeting. I don't really care, other than the fact that it sounded like it wasn't too pretty. But the one point that I want to bring to you goes back to what I was listening to the gentleman speak on the proposals, and it was very clear that he was going to speak with each of you about, or the department heads about what they needed. But those of us that actually use your services a lot, I didn't hear one single thing about talking to us. And I can tell you right now, we can tell you where you have problems at, to a T. The other thing that actually hit it home for me is we're sitting here listening to the recycle bank, talking about recycle bank. And, you know, I take recycle bank coupons and things from you guys. They come in, we cash them out. And the one thing that hits me home is I think that advertising, talking, communicating with your citizens is where you're lacking. Same thing goes back to Chief Dorsey here. Look, I'll be the first person to tell you that Chief Dorsey goes above and beyond the call. You know why? Because I've called him on numerous occasions. Either I had an issue at the night, I had this issue with Joanne Festival, discovered somebody dealing drugs in the back parking lot, whatever it may be. He has answered my call, even to the point where I actually was having some issues with one of his officers, not me personally, but another citizen. And I let him know about it because I thought he would like to know about that, deal with it. But as a whole, listening to the back and forth going on here tonight, and listening to the people coming forward, you have a communication problem. I have said that in emails to numerous of you in here, and I'm telling you tonight, you need to deal with it. You need to sit down and talk with your citizens. You need to work like adults. Richard Branson is a great man. Most of us know who he is. He's a billionaire, runs Virgin Atlantic. One of his favorite sayings is, and I actually learned a lot from this from him, is that, you know, sometimes you have an employee and sometimes they're not doing the job you want them to do. And sometimes it's easier to move that employee to another position and let them blossom in another way. Or alternatively, is to get out of their way and give them the tools to do. Sometimes you'll find that they'll actually do better when you're not in the way. So my point to you tonight is, look, you need to work on communication. I don't know how you're going to do it, but from many different facets, working with your different department heads, working with the average citizen, police department, Fred here, you have some fabulous staff, but we have to do a better job of communicating. Thanks.
Thank you, Neil. Appreciate those comments, very constructive, and thank you among others for being in the business community, and Neil and Jill, each and every one of us, and we'll certainly look into this, and all of us, I think, at some point in time, talk about one of the major problems is communication. You just kind of voted to it here tonight. I thank you for it. Having said that, Mr. Administrator, do you have anything that you'd like to add? Yes, sir. Madam City Clerk, Attorney, Justin,
No, sir, thank you.
Madam Clerk,
Yes, sir. Going back to 5B, the motion to adopt the IGA, the consent agenda, Councilmember Noddy made the motion, Councilmember Stewart seconded. May we add to your motion an authorization for the mayor to sign the IGA?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
yes.
Okay, I would like to make that change, so we need to add that, please.
Any other thing?
That's all, man.
Ms. Pruitt, Ms. Shereen Wright, any comment?
Yes, I want to say to Chief Preston, I certainly appreciate what he does. I've enjoyed working with him over the years. Thank you.
Ms. Farmer, thank you.
No, I don't have any comment, other than Chief, Lewis, you do a great job, here in McDonough.
Thank you, Chief. Good job. Neil, thank you for those comments, about leadership, and sometimes we get out of the way of that people that does the job, do it, and do it better. Thank you.
Ms. Knight?
Thank you, Chief Dorsey, for everything that you do. I don't think there's hardly anybody in the city that you have not, in one way or the other, affected and helped personally. Also, Neil, thank you for those comments. Communication is something that we all desperately need to work on. And one thing that I did say tonight, one of the questions I asked was, would they look at communications, between departments, departments coming together, making sure that all the people who work for the city of McDonough, that no problems intimately on a day-to-day basis, that even our citizens are not aware of. That they have an opportunity to be able to talk about and be innovative about how to solve it. We just did that recently in a meeting that we had our employees come together concerning our finance department. And I think it helped everybody. It helped some of the frustrations and helped open some doors. But you're absolutely right. Communications is the thing that really determines the future of any community and the greatness of that community as a whole.
I just want to thank all the citizens for being here tonight. When we started, I counted real quick, we had 23 here when we started, and it's good to see that. We've had a few meetings where there's been 0.
Yeah.
And I want to personally invite everyone back to our next meeting, which is the 3rd of April, and hope you guys continue coming. It's really good to see you here, and we need your support, and the comments from Neil and G and Molly, we appreciate hearing those, and keep them coming. We want to hear those, and we need to hear those. Chief, you do a great job, you know that. I appreciate you coming back and bringing the items that you brought. Anything we can do to help you, you always got my support, and anything I can help you. And Chief Morgan do a great job as well. Can't thank you too guys.
Thank you, Greg. I don't feel left out though, so.
Great job. But thank you for being here tonight too.
Yes, sir.
Where those trucks go streaming by for that wreck that was out there.
Ms. Benson, yes, ma'am.
Chief, it should go without saying, but I do appreciate what you do.
I appreciate what you've done for me and how you've been there when I picked up the call and called you. So communication, it is a challenge for the city of McDonough. And one of the things that we outlaid at our retreat both last year and this year was the need to have a strategic communication plan. And I think tonight's action on the part of the citizens is even more of a reason for us to really identify what communication it is that we need to get out to the public. Now, I'm going to take this opportunity to do something because perception is reality, and perception has a great bearing on how successful we are. Last Thursday, there was an article in the paper that mentioned that the city administrator walked out of a meeting before adjournment. That did not take place. He went to the restroom. And so it's really, really important that we do get the facts. I won't say anything about myself. I'm just concerned about the perception that was in the paper relative to the person who acts as the chief administrative officer of the city. And we do recognize that Mayor Copeland has both executive and administrative powers, but we don't want to undermine what any of our staff people do. We want them all to be successful and all to be perceived by their employees as being responsible and professional. Let me just say this and then I'm done. We are all operating in an age that's different from any other time in our history. And when we just kind of willy-nilly put things in the paper that end up on the World Wide Web and in the internet, when people leave McDonough and they go other places and somebody Googles their name and these articles come up, it could have terrible consequences to that person's future. So there has to be a certain amount of ethics and responsibility in what is printed. And aside from that, as a governing body, when we see that things are printed incorrectly, we've got to step up and defend those who we know are being misrepresented. And that's really all I want to say, because it hasn't been done, and it's not right, it's not fair, and if we're not a part of the solution, then we're a part of the problem.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Carter, real quick, Chief, Mayor, we have one item we wanted to discuss. It was a change order, additional services for Beach Springs Park. It was supposed to be a rush item from our Stormwater Department and Public Works Department. I mentioned to you earlier about give you the authority to sign it. It's part of the Beach Springs program. They needed this to be addressed, and we couldn't get it on the agenda.
Ms. Ray, go on.
Yes, real quick, Ms. Reeves.
Go ahead.
We had a change order for the landscape architect. We found that this small parcel of land up here by 42, we were able to acquire with that right of way and add an entrance to the park from 42, which, you know, the whole park, part of the landscape design is meant to determine the LCI project on 42. So this was something that we felt was necessary, and we started this, I'm gonna say in August, and there was a slight miscommunication, and this is a change order that I thought had been approved, and it turns out we find that it has not actually been signed. So I don't have a copy of the change order.
Is this just the Elton Police Station?
Yes.
Yes.
So, Fred, you're recommending that I be authorized to sign?
Yes, yes, sir, because I can't sign it. Your policy interested.
Any other comments you want to share with the council?
The additional services are $6,980 for the landscape design of this component and also some additional work. Can you read that? The GDOT pedestrian connection, which is this portion, the gazebo, architectural design, and some work for the bid package preparation and the structural engineering gazebo.
Any comments of Mr. Gardner and or Ms. Ray relative to this recommendation? Entertain motion?
So moved. Second.
And the second. Made discussion relative to this modification. Everybody oriented to the location, I assume. What is the status of, construction, beginning construction relative to this?
They are, the contract notice to proceed has been given to a contractor. He was here earlier this evening. They cannot start the work on the park with this current weather, all the rain that we've been having, but they are going to start very soon. They're moving equipment in us.
As we speak?
Yeah, they should be doing it this week.
What about completion?
I'm sorry, would you like to also mention, something that will be coming back to council on the third?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Gale had a comment earlier at the pre-construction conference with the contractor about this level of water in this pool. If the water does not come up to this particular elevation, we have a contingency plan to, somewhere in the pool to drill a well. And, so for a water supply, so that the water is at a consistent elevation, and it's always a beautiful wet pond, and it's not occasionally a dry hole. And that's just a contingency, and also there is an addition of some lighting. The contractor was very nice to give me this, this morning, I didn't get it then. But if these numbers will be put together in a separate, addendum to this contract and discussed further at the next council meeting, a much better overview of what's going on at the Springs Park.
I understand this is, something that we need today. And, got a motion, second on the floor, relative to this modification. Ms. Price, please share the motion, second with us.
The motion is to approve a change order for Big Springs Park for landscape architecture, the pedestrian connection, the gazebo, the bid package preparation and structural engineering for gazebo for a total of $6,980.
Correct, yes, ma'am. You've heard the motion, second, those in favor, in opposition, you got a choice. How about vote at this time?
There's 7 in favor, Mayor.
Fair enough. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your patience tonight, and to make sure we authorize the mayor to sign. Yeah,
And authorize the mayor to sign.
no problem there. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, y'all have been kind to come, appreciate it, hope you'll come back. And thank you for adjournment. We have a second, all that